Today, we're going to talk about three lessons that new freight brokers can learn from top freight brokers. And I'll bet you can't guess what number one is. Number one is probably one of the most important lessons I learned in my career. Fortunately, I learned it before I was a freight broker, and that is there's a difference between sales and marketing. Now, let me tell you what I mean. There's a difference between sales and marketing. Large companies like C.H. Robinson and XPO Logistics and Coyote and and companies like that, those large companies, right? TQL, those large brokerages that have been able to scale to large numbers, okay? The difference between them and smaller brokers is usually one of these things. And this is a big one, which is sales and marketing. There's a difference. Just so you understand, marketing is about creating awareness and interest in your product or service, okay? So marketing is different than sales. Marketing, once again, is about creating awareness and interest in your product or sales. Sales, for example, well, let's give you some examples of marketing. Online paid advertising, blogging, podcasting, YouTube, direct mail, email marketing. Those are all marketing channels and marketing strategies that top companies use, whereas a lot of smaller companies don't do that. They don't understand marketing. Now, sales, on the other hand, are the activities that lead up to the sale. So they are, for example, cold calling and following up with inbound leads and discovery calls and pricing proposals and overcoming objections. Those are sales activities, and there is a difference. A lot of people don't understand that sales and marketing are different, but they're both important. Now, as a startup, you are obviously going to spend the majority of your time doing sales, but you also do not want to discount the power of marketing. I shared some different strategies like online paid advertising and blogging and podcasting and YouTube and email and direct mail and all these different strategies. These are powerful strategies in conjunction with your sales activity. So I don't want you to discount that, but it's an important distinction that you understand that the large companies that have grown to scale on that you know by name understand the difference between sales and marketing. And if you want to become successful and grow a highly profitable freight brokerage, you will too. Okay. So that's why I ask you to tune into this channel every week, because I do talk a lot about sales. I do talk a lot about marketing, and I want you to understand the difference. So that's number one. Number two, systems and technology are not optional. Okay. So what I mean by that is the larger companies have embraced technology. They invest in technology. They invest in systems. And if you as a broker are going to scale to a highly profitable business, you will have to invest in systems and technology. Okay. There's two pieces of technology that every broker needs, and that is a transportation management software, otherwise known as a TMS, and load boards. Those are two no-brainers. You're going to have those. Do you need them day one or when you move your first few loads? Probably not. The load board, yeah, but maybe not the TMS. But over time, you're definitely going to need both the transportation management software and you're going to need load boards, right? So those are two common pieces of technology that you're absolutely going to need, all right? Now, I get the question all the time, what about these digital brokers? What about companies like Conway and Uber and Amazon? Here's what I'm going to tell you guys. The only difference between digital brokers and freight brokers is that digital brokers have enhanced technology. They've invested more in technology. Now, they will not replace brokers. Let me just state that as a fact. That is my 100% opinion. They will not replace smart brokers who invest in technology and systems, but they could replace old school brokers who do not adapt. Now, here's the good news. The good news is, for you, the bad news for me is I had to invest over $1 million to develop the software and technology that I created for my brokerage. And in order to maintain that software, it cost me 6 figures per year just to maintain it. Here's the good news for you. The good news for you is it's not going to cost you a fraction of that, because there are tons of companies out there already that are building this technology, that have developed this technology, and it's incredibly inexpensive. There's TMSs out there that cost, 59 or 89 or 159 or just very low hundreds of dollars per month versus millions of dollars that I had to invest when I started back in 2003. So you have to invest in technology and systems. You will not grow unless you invest in those. But again, the good news is that technology is very prevalent. There are tons of providers out there, software providers, SaaS providers, technology providers that are filling that gap. As a matter of fact, you guys can go to my blog, freightbrokerbootcamp.com/blog. And one of my most popular posts is the top 10 freight broker software to choose, right? Top 10 freight broker software to choose. You can check that out on my blog. Again, freightbrokerbootcamp.com/blog. There's a list and a video, the whole 9 yards. You guys can check that out. These are some of the most popular and comprehensive and well-known freight broker softwares out there if you guys are curious of that. So that's number 2. You have to understand and invest in systems and technology, okay? It's not optional. And number 3 on the list is to grow, you need to learn how to hire and retain top talent. Now, what do I mean by that? It means that if you want to build $1 million brokerage, you don't need a big team. Matter of fact, you could do that with no team. You could do that as a solo broker or a solo agent. But if you want to grow to 5 million or 10 million or 20 million or 100 million or 500 million, it's not about how smart you are. It's not about how hard you work. It's about building a team. And in order to build a team, a well-oiled machine and a highly effective and productive and profitable team, you need to learn how to hire and retain talent. You need to find people that fill the gaps and fill the weaknesses that you have and also support the strengths that you have in order to build a team that's going to grow that business to high 7 figures or 8 figures or even 9 figures. You're going to need to develop a team. And so you need to learn how to hire and retain top talent. Again, learning how to effectively hire and train top talent is one of the biggest differentiators between $1 million broker and $100 million broker. That's a fact. Learning how to find, hire, and retain top talent is one of those skills that is the biggest differentiator between $1 million brokerage and $100 million brokerage. And you have to understand, turnover costs, meaning turnover, when an employee turns over, whether you have to fire them because they were a bad hire or whether they voluntarily turn over and leave your organization and quit, it's very, very expensive. So let me just give you some example. Statistics show that the cost to replace an individual employee can range. If you have to replace an employee who quits, you can cost between one half and double the employee's annual salary. And those are conservative estimates. So half. So if you're paying somebody $50,000 a year, that's somewhere between $25,000 and $100,000 it'll cost you to replace that person. That's the entire replacement cost, meaning finding them, hiring them, training them, right? That's the whole process as a replacement. Now, so if in a 50-person organization, this will blow your mind, pay attention. Again, the cost of replacing an individual employee is anywhere between 50% and 2 times double the cost of that person's annual salary. Now, if you're in a 50-person organization that provides an average salary of $50,000 per year, one turnover, okay, or the turnover, not one turnover, but the turnover cost on an annual basis for replacing employees could cost anywhere between $330,000 and $1.3 million. Now, let me say that again. If you have an organization, if you have a brokerage that has 50 employees, just with normal turnover, right? Normal turnover in the industry, it could cost you, if you're paying them an average of $50,000, it could cost you anywhere between $330,000 and $1.3 million per year. So you have to understand the value of learning how to hire and retain top talent is one of the biggest differentiators between small brokers and large brokers. And so those are 3 lessons that you have to understand that you want to learn early, right? Number 1, there's a huge difference between sales and marketing, but you have to understand both. Number 2, systems and technology are not optional. They're required. You have to invest in technology, but today it's not very expensive. So that's the pro for you. And number 3, in order to grow, you have to learn how to hire and retain top talent, okay? So those are 3 differentiators. Those are 3 lessons that you can learn from top brokers and apply to your business, whether you're a startup, whether you've been in business for 12 months, 24 months, 5 years, maybe you're not growing the way you want. Think about those 3 things. Think about how they may be holding you back and you're not maybe investing in them the way you should. And I think if you put some strategy together, you listen to these trainings, I think you'll see great success if you take those lessons to heart. So again, for those of you that are curious about becoming a freight broker or freight agent, make sure you check out freightbrokerbootcamp.com. Again, been in business over 10 years, trained over 8,000 students, have a 60-day, 100% money back guarantee. If you're not happy, just send us a message and we will send your money back, okay? It doesn't happen very often, but from time to time it does. I hope you guys enjoyed this.